Let's look at the card reveals. What are these two new cards? So first off, what does the Radiant Typhoon deck type look like?
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
This deck is a lot of fun. It's all about getting your MST, and you could use the trap to ensure that the MST now negates any card in the field. Spell, trap, monster, it does not matter. You would MST even your own card. You could MST even your own trap, which is wild, right? Let's say they have no back row. I MST my own card, and then I chain my own card to now negate your face-up monster on the field. Or back row, whatever you want to negate with this. This card being able to search 2 cards, but then summon locks you into wind, and I did see that the new Link is a wind type. And frequently when playing this deck, I would just have extra bodies on the field to not really know what to do with them. But now with the new Link 2, I believe the deck's gonna be a lot more consistent. Now the deck is not doing that well in the TCG. It's got 0 tops. It just came out. Now, Radiant Typhoon only has 2 tops in the OCG, so I'm not going to pretend like it's been clapping up with everything. It, I think, is a very good deck in Genesis, at least, so it definitely does need new support. And with that much needed new support with quite an interesting deck type, is it going to be good enough? Let's see. Link 2. 2 Radiant Typhoon monsters. So right away, why does Konami like Malice more? Malice doesn't have this restriction, huh? If we read White Binder, it's 2 monsters including a Malice. No, this is not including a Typhoon. It has to both be Typhoon monsters. So already reducing the viability of, let's say, you special summon a Typhoon, then normal summon a hand trap. They didn't want you to do that. They don't want you to normal summon a Fool Lost alongside your special summon Typhoon to make this. If this card is Link summoned, you could add an MST from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now, you choose that on the resolution, so this is ashable even if all copies of your MST is in the graveyard. But if you're under the effect of Droll and Lockbird, which this deck can get heavily Droll. Droll is a very good card against this deck, I'd say. You do have some quick effects to activate in the draw phase to search to help play around Droll. But beyond that, if you have an MST in graveyard, you could just right through the Droll, add that back. And then it has, you could target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a Radiant Typhoon you control. Place them face up in the owner spell and trap zones as continuous spells. This would be a spell speed 1, only within your main phase 1 or main phase 2. Right, could be itself. Target, including a Radiant Typhoon. It doesn't say a different one, another one, or accept this one. Place them face up in their owner spell and trap zones as continuous spells. So I've been seeing some people saying that they're not going to want to use a card like this if they're playing the Runic version of Typhoon, as Runic needs the extra monster zone to summon the Huggin. But, and also what sucks is you can't use Huggin with another Typhoon to make this Link 2. You'd have to make this Link 2 first, but you do at least have the option, the quite minusing option. You could target itself plus another monster control, put it into the back row, and then activate a Runic card, but obviously it's meant to be used against the opponent to push them into the back row. And then when you put their monster in the back row, you can now MST them with the card you drew if you wanted. And then if a quick play spell is activated, except during the damage step, this is great. Some of the cards specify that it has to be a Radiant Typhoon quick play spell, or it has to be a Mystical Space Typhoon more specifically. This is just any quick play spell is activated, and note that it's not just you. If the opponent activates a quick play spell, you are the opponent, you'll trigger the effect to put your continuous trap from your deck or graveyard face up onto your field. And this is not ashable, obviously, you're not searching. You can only use each effect of this once per turn. So the trap that you'd want to see, that you're going to be putting up, Radiant Typhoon. Let's look at the traps real quick. I'm not sure how good the other trap. There's only one trap. That's it. The only one. This has the ability to draw a card once per turn, and also the main effect of when a Mystical Space Typhoon is activated, which this card is inherently searching, you're now going to be able to negate a card in the field. This is great. And what's also insane about this is not a hard once per turn on your Mystical Space Typhoon. So you could be thinking, oh, this is redundant. My combo already has an MST. Why do I need a second one? Well, now you have 2 negates, mate. Once per chain, negate. New chain, activate again. Once per chain, negate. So I think frequently I am not in that scenario to negate more than once with an MST. But now with this Link 2, this trap's going to be negating very likely at least twice, which I think is super boosting the power ceiling of this deck, and obviously adding some consistency too. So this is very much needed, and unfortunately, I do think it is deserving of the heavy restriction of only 2 Radiant monsters being allowed to make this. Now, what other card do we have here? Radiant Typhoon Elation. So again, if we want to evaluate cards, where is this card going to be here in the good deck categories? Quick play. This card is destroyed by MST. You could set this card. They all have this effect. Activate one of these effects, but you can only use each of these effects once per turn. This means you could activate the card more than once. You have 2 copies. You could activate both different effects. All the quick plays could add a Mystical Space Typhoon from the deck or graveyard to your hand, and then this will be the unique effect. Special summon a level 6 or lower Radiant Typhoon monster from your graveyard. There is a Radiant Typhoon like the really good one is obviously not level 6 or lower, which would be this. There's another card where you could dump this into the graveyard, and then while in the graveyard, if a Mystical Space Typhoon's activated, you could special summon this card. And if we have the trap that wants to actually negate things, we don't want to use an MST early to reborn, and this card is absolutely nuts. It's going to, after a quick play card is activated from either player, target up to 2, not 2, but up to, very important again, to return them to the deck, which I love this card so much within this deck. And so my point is, when we dump this from the deck to the graveyard with another card, we're not going to be able to reborn it with this. That's already a huge downside. So that's where I'd be thinking, is there a combo where this is going to increase the power ceiling of this deck? And immediately my first reaction is, I don't think this will be a core combo piece to increase the power ceiling. It looks like it is just going to be an extender. And extenders in the hierarchy of good Yu-Gi-Oh cards is generally not the best. And well, DK, Gold Shark's amazing. Gold Shark's a starter and extender. It's added on top of it being a consistency starter card. So it being an extension by itself, I would unfortunately say, if played, this is a one of. I would probably play just one of this card, and then it's just an extra option in the toolbox. But I'm mostly excited. And also another thing, I think someone I was reading, what's this elephant dude? That's unreleased. Are we looking at a 3rd wave, or would it be considered a 2nd wave still? Maybe it's within the same pack that we can get some cool Radiant Typhoon elephant. And along the theme of the bigger monsters, it would be a new one. So we have 2 level 9 so far. This is able to negate a monster. This can bounce cards on the field back to the deck. What would the elephant do? I don't even... Negate, spell, and trap is probably, if it wants to be in the same theme, I would be guessing that if your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you have Mystical Space Typhoon in the graveyard, negate. That's it, mate. And Konami, don't come after me if that's what the card does. I'm just guessing, okay? It's just an educated guess. And that's it for the Radiant Typhoon cards. I think the Link 2, again, huge boost consistency and power ceiling. The spell, I think, is just going to be an extender. I don't think it'll be a combo piece, but I'm very much excited for this. I think this is exactly what the deck needed. Going to very consistently have up to 2 negates now. Now, if you're afraid of this deck, I don't want to give you tips, but I'll tell you anyway. You could chain link block this with literally anything. If I activate MST on your card, you could literally chain DD Crow onto something random. You could chain Max C on your own turn to just block the MST from being able to negate. Otherwise, then you'll be good. So there you go. Radiant Typhoon.